What's going on, guys? Something a little bit different today. I'm going to be doing a review on the CB300R. Now, it is my first review, so it's not the best, but you know, bear with me. I want to also apologize because I've been away for a couple of weeks. I do usually do one video a week, but circumstances had something different in mind for me for a couple of weeks, so I wasn't able to put a couple of videos out. Also, I want to apologize for the wind in this. It was the first time I'd used the new microphone that I got, and I wasn't expecting it to be that windy, but I have got a new microphone, so hopefully that'll fix all those issues. If you're interested in the CB300R, don't forget to check out my other videos. I have quite a few videos of the CB300R getting some mods done and other bits and pieces, so feel free to check those out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're putting out more and more content, so make sure you click the notification bell and keep updated. Anyway, let's jump into it.
What's going on, guys? Finally got my microphone, so I thought I might actually do a riding review on the Honda. So, for those of you who don't know, it's a 2019 Honda CB300R. Single cylinder, 286cc pretty much. It's not a bad little bike, it's good for beginners. It's actually my first bike. Obviously I upgraded a little bit, but I kept this around for a daily. So I do ride this every day now. But yeah, I'll start it up, jump on, go for a bit of a ride, and I'll tell you all about it. So first thing I want to talk about is the sound. Now it is a single cylinder, so it's never going to sound that great. I've still got the stock pipe on here. It does the job, nothing too fantastic. I have heard some of them with a Yoshimura pipe on it. They do sound pretty good with those pipes. So one day I might get a pipe. Second thing I want to talk about is the mirrors. I don't know if you can see, but I can't actually see anything but my elbows. So I recommend a good set of bar end mirrors. Another thing I want to say, the gears are actually quite short on this bike. Obviously being a single cylinder, it's not going to be a huge top speed. Its top speed is something like 140 k's an hour. So it is quite short gears. But I like that because you can smash this thing around town and never do over the speed limit. So you can red line first, second, third, and you'd only be doing 80. Another thing is the ergonomics aren't actually too bad. They're done fairly upright. It's quite comfortable to ride. The seat, however, is extremely hard. Like I rode for an hour straight, it really hurt. So I'd suggest a new seat if you're going on longer trips. But it's perfectly fine for half an hour, 45 minutes. It'll do just nicely. Okay, so another thing is the instrument. So like the whole instrument cluster there. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the black background with the white numbers and lettering and all that. They think you can't see it in the sunlight, but I think it's fantastic actually. I don't find anything wrong with it. But that's just my opinion. The suspension on this is actually quite good. It's a Showa, upside down fork on the front and monoshock on the back. Only preload adjustable on the back. It's quite comfortable. It's a little hard at times when you hit bigger bumps, but other than that you don't really notice anything. So you don't really notice the bumps that bad on this bike. It's quite comfortable. And especially if you're a beginner, this thing is just, I can't fault it for a beginner bike. One of the only issues I have with this bike is the tyres. Now it does have Dunlop Sport Max tyres on it, but I have slipped on these tyres 3 times now. Once when they were new and it was cold, and that's when I crashed the bike. It slipped out. And then second time I was going around a freshly paved roundabout at about 60k an hour. It slipped again. and then going around just a normal corner it slipped again. So that was over the course of 3,000 kilometers that I've done on this bike. So I don't particularly like the tyres. I think I might put some Pirelli Rosso 3s on it or something like that. Just depends on what ends up happening with this bike. But if you're just taking it easy, not really giving it too much and not giving it too much lean, they do the job just fine. I haven't ridden it in the wet yet, so I can't really comment on wet weather riding, but I'm sure it'll do just fine. There's plenty of people that actually do ride these in the rain and every other condition there is, so I'm sure it'll do just fine. There is one other problem with this bike, is the chain is actually quite noisy. You probably won't be able to hear it, but it's very prominent. There's been some talk on the forums about putting a new rear sprocket on the back, a thicker one that apparently fixes it. There was another way of combating it as well, but I can't remember what that is. So if you really don't like that noise and you want to fix it, there's an option. Me personally, I don't really care that much. Now while I'm stopped here, good time to talk about the brakes. Now the brakes are Nissan calipers, front and back, which is quite good. Obviously it's only got a single caliper and rotor on the front. They're actually quite bitey. They actually work pretty damn well, and this bike is equipped with ABS, which is pretty good for a learner bike. Like, you know, beginner bike, you get ABS, shower suspension, Nissan brakes, decent-ish tyres. So for the money you pay for it, say I think it's something like 7,000 Australian dollars. So for the money you're paying, you're getting a pretty decent bike. It is lacking a little bit in power, but you know, that's for a beginner. I didn't mind that at all. I felt, because I haven't ridden a road bike before that I got this bike, I find the power to be completely fine, and it gets you moving. Like, it'll get you past all the traffic if necessary. What else is there to talk about? Like fuel tank size. I think it has a 10-litre tank. I always put 98 octane in this bike, on both my bikes actually. And to fill it up with 98 octane, which isn't cheap, is about between $10 and $12. It'll get you about 300 kilometers distance, I think, something like that. I haven't really checked it in a while. I probably should do that, but it's sufficient. Like, it'll last me, like if I ride it every day, it'll last me about a week if I'm just going to and from work. Also, the styling of this thing is, it just looks fantastic for a small bike. It is quite good looking. Obviously it's got LED lights all around, so headlight, high beam, blinkers, they are all LED. So the handling of it is quite good. The turning circle is quite small, so you can actually maneuver around a 2-car garage without putting a foot down, which I think is pretty great considering my Triumph. I have to do a 3-point turn in my carport, and that's about the same size as a 2-car garage. Yeah, small turning circle makes it fantastic for slow speed maneuvers. Actual higher speed handling is quite good as well. You don't want to be turning in too hard, because it does sort of tend to pull in quite quickly. So if you're not used to it, it can catch you off guard. But apart from that, if you're used to it and you know what you're doing, it's quite a flicky little bike. But it is best for urban environments, so just putting around town, even in traffic, you can quite easily just trail the rear brake and ride at 2 or 3 kilometers an hour. You won't have any problem with it. Just going to pull in here and drop something off to my mate. Okay, so there's another thing I wanted to mention, was there's a hefty amount of aftermarket parts you can get for these bikes, so they're very customizable. And I've got to stop for a train. One thing it's missing as well is a gear indicator. So yeah, if you're not really paying attention, you can forget what gear you're in, which I don't find such a big deal. I usually remember, but it would be handy to have one. You can get aftermarket ones put on, but I just haven't yet because they're overly priced in my opinion. For something so simple, there's no need to spend $200 on it. And they only come in certain colours, so it doesn't really match the dash, and you can't really mount it anywhere to make it look like it's a factory item. And I don't really like adding things to the bike that don't look at least nice, and they don't look that nice. Also, when I first bought this, the speedometer was out by 7 kilometers, so at 100 kilometers an hour the speedo would read 107. So if you are going to get one of these bikes, I would consider getting a speedo healer. They're a little bit on the expensive side, but it will save you speeding tickets. It'll also stop the odometer from overreading. So think about it, if your speedo is reading 107 and you're doing 100, every kilometer you do is 7% more than it should be. So if for resale, like for minimum at resale, it's probably a good idea to get one so your speedo isn't, like, so your odometer isn't reading too high. Also the what do you call it, the boot space, I guess you would, for lack of a better word. Take the rear pillion seat off and you've got a bit of space in there. So I actually have my speedo healer under the pillion seat, and there's still a bit more room for everything else. Well, not everything, but before I had the speedo healer, ooh, it's an LC500, that's nice. So before the speedo healer went in, I used to carry, you know, a cloth, a helmet lock, my earplugs, a bunch of other stuff that I just need for a normal ride, and that all fit in there quite nicely. So yeah, it's got a bit of space in there. I know a lot of sport bikes you can barely fit a phone in, so it's quite nice to have at least something. But now that I ride this every day, I've decided to get a tail bag. So I now run a tail bag. It's got a bit more space in it. That way I can carry a few more things. What I might actually do is take it on the highway, get it up to 100 kilometers an hour, just so you guys can see how it actually performs on the highway. So at 100 kilometers an hour, it'll sit about 7,000 RPM, which is a little bit high in my opinion. Like, I'd like it to be a little bit lower because I do ride at 100 kilometers an hour quite a fair bit. But I just want to show you guys that it works perfectly fine on highway speeds. Like, you can accelerate up to the 100 fairly easily. It's not a slow bike by any means. It'll get up and move if you want it to. Okay, so for fueling, so far I've got 3.3 litres per 100 kilometres. That's not too bad. These gears also are just very easy to use. It doesn't take much to flick them up and down. It's almost like having a quick shifter if you can shift with the clutch fast enough. You can get heel tech quick shifters for these things. Also quite expensive. And unless you're going on track, I probably don't really think it's worth it. I'll probably get one anyway, all for the content. Okay, I'm going to go onto the highway now, see how it goes. I'm going to try redline it. Alright, so there we go. So it will definitely get you to highway speeds fairly quickly. Alright, and I'm sitting at 100k an hour right now, 7,000 RPM, and it's completely doing fine. It's still got a little bit more to go, so you can easily go a little bit faster. Not much, but a little bit at least. And it does completely fine. It'll do this all day. It's not really, like, you can feel the vibrations a little bit. If you keep the bar ends in, like the factory ones, there's not really much vibration on the hands. I can feel it mostly in my feet. It's not too bad through the seat. It's a little bit, but not much. But it's definitely very doable on the highway at 100 kilometers an hour. saying that, if you're riding 2 up with passenger, it'll probably struggle a little bit more. But, you know, I weigh something like 80 something kilos, and this thing moves perfectly fine with me on it. Alright, so I think that'll probably be it for today. If you enjoyed the short little review that I did on this, I'm not obviously very good at these, my first one. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you're going to buy one, if you're thinking about getting one, if you want to know anything, ask away. If I've missed anything, let me know as well. I can add things later on.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. The more you guys watch this, the more it makes me want to make more videos. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.